reporting for the American Action News about the Stamp Act, taxed directly on the American colonists by the British government. It was imposed on all the American colonists and required them to pay the tax of every piece of printed paper they used, like ship paper, legal documents, licensed newspapers, and other publications.
Afternoon, a fight broke out in the street. People were throwing snow, branches, and even stones. They were also shooting at each other. 3 people already died.
Last night, the Sons of Liberty threw an entire shipment of tea into the Boston harbor in protest of the Tea Act. The colonists wanted to show the King of England that they weren't going to pay taxes on tea. Having done this, the King of England passed strict new laws known as the Intolerable Acts.
In order to encourage support, speeches and letters are being published outlining the colonial unfairness of pamphlets. Also, Samuel Adams is using the Boston Massacre as propaganda to hasten war for independence. It's unpaid exciting now.
On April 5, 1764, Parliament passed a modified version of the Sugar and Molasses Act, which was about to expire. The colonial merchants had been required to pay a rare tax on molasses from 6 pence to 3 cents per gallon.
Therefore, the Second Continental Congress formed the Army. General George Washington asked for more volunteers to join the Army and has decided to extend the enlistment time.
If you didn't know, the Intolerable Acts are what the British are punishing us for dumping their tea into the ocean. Us colonists are being affected because King George made different laws, like the Quartering Act, which allowed some British troops to live in the homes of colonists, or like the Massachusetts Government Act, which made it so people could not hold meetings without the governor's permission.
As we all know, it's July of 1775, and may I say that King George III has upset almost every colonist in all of the 13 colonies. It's been 7 weeks since we've shipped the olive branch petition to him, showing him how loyal we still are to him. But really, he didn't even look at it. He discarded it without a single glance. If we would have taken the time to look at it, he would have seen that it did not suggest an end to the union between Britain and the colonies, but only called for a greater moderation on the part of British.
The American militia was a great aspect of the war. The militia is a group of untrained farmers and citizens. The militia helped the colonists win the 7-Year War.
Many patriots were active before 1775, and some groups, like the Sons of Liberty, were opposing the taxes, were against the king.
Today's segment is on Paul Revere. Many of you are thinking, who's Paul Revere anyway? Paul Revere was an American silversmith, engraver, early industrialist. He also took part in the Boston Tea Party that had taken place right here in Boston. Paul Revere rode on his horse and had warned the colonists in the middle of the night. The British are coming, the British are coming, he yelled. But let's just say without Paul Revere, we might have had an unfriendly visit from the colonists.
Hello, this is Sergio Melendez, and I'm reporting on the shot heard around the world. When British troops searching for ammunition stockpiles in Lexington and Concord engaged in a brief battle with local Minutemen on the North Bridge in Concord. The British were not defeated at the Battle of Lexington, though, and it's not even clear who fired the first shot of that battle.
Good morning, Massachusetts. This is Matt Manson reporting live from Lexington. The British will soon be arriving shortly, as we have taken shelter in a nearby tavern. Troops are moving out of Boston over to Lexington. Then they will march to Concord in order to get military supplies. So the Revolutionary War has begun. And I see redcoats coming to our building.
Oh, yeah.
This is Matt Manson reporting.
Things are tense here in Boston as colonial troops and British troops are fighting for Bunker Hill, but neither side wants to give up. The British are trying to stop the colonial troops from taking the hill, but the colonial troops are too many. 1,200 colonial troops are under the command of William Prescott, and they are stealthily taking Bunker Hill.
I'm reporting live from Boston on the Thomas Jefferson Declaration of Independence. 1775, with the American Revolutionary War, was under Thomas Jefferson was selected to speak. Although he was not a great public speaker, he was a gifted writer, so he was asked to write the Declaration of Independence.
Good morning and welcome to American Action News. I'm reporting live from Boston on King George III. King George III is the King of Great Britain. The Americans complained of taxation without representation and staged the Boston Tea Party. The king was reluctant to come terms with his army's defeat at Yorktown in 1780.
Reporting live from Boston on the Second
Continental Congress. Things are tense here in Boston. The Declaration of Independence had just been signed. This also has just caused a split between the colonies and Britain. George Washington has became General of the Army.
Good morning. This is Kaylee reporting for American Action News on the Declaration of Independence. Thomas Jefferson, along with the help of Roger Sherman, Robert Livingston, Benjamin Franklin, and John Adams, has written the Declaration of Independence. There were also 56 signatures from all 13 of the colonies. The colonies are now free from British rule.
Hey y'all, this is Sarah reporting for American Action News. I'm reporting live from Philadelphia, where John Adams wrote the preamble to the United States Declaration of Independence. There are 4 parts to the preamble that explain why the Continental Congress wants freedom from Britain.
The Declaration of Rights is a list of rights the citizens are allowed to have. It goes to explain that in a republic, people form a government to protect their rights. The colonists have managed to break from the British Empire